Recording.
Can you start the video? Yeah.
We'll be starting a video to begin the meeting.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking, as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras.
Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
Internet access. To view the meeting and provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You will be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You will also be asked for an email address. You may fill in this field with any entry in an email format. Your microphone will be automatically muted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about that agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. Phone access. If you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you will be prompted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by entering star and then 9 on your phone's keypad. After entering star and then 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing star and then 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter star and then 6 again to mute yourself. For both internet and phone access, when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If connection to the meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specific date and time. This information can be found on the board's website. Instructions to attend the State of Hawaii virtual board meetings may also be found online.
Okay, do a quick roll call. Catalina. Brandon's excused. Mark.
Here.
Sherry. Here. Alan.
Here.
Okay, so we have quorum. Call the meeting to order 9:05. Chair's report. So the only thing I have is NABP's annual meeting is May 12th to the 15th in Boston. So we have correspondence that our delegate form, Hawaii gets a 1 delegate vote, right? It's due back to NABP on the 20th. So I think we need to fill that out. we have to have a delegate. Do you send a delegate or do you get a vote if you're not there? Okay, so we have to send somebody, you're gonna send somebody and fill out the form as to who's gonna do the vote. Anyone interested in going? 2 week notice in Boston. Okay, well, I mean, if we have until the 20th to decide on a delegate, if someone's available, like, who got the information? Did you get the email?
Yeah.
So we need to respond if someone can go.
They usually give a stipend.
It's $1,500. Normally the state would pay the rest, but the state I know is not gonna pay the rest. So you can get to Boston for a week for $1,500. Sign up. And be there in May. Otherwise, I guess do we have to turn in if we're not coming?
We can always do that as a courtesy.
Yeah, okay. So we have until the 20th if you wanna let them know if you guys are available, Alan. Okay. That's the only thing I had on mine. EO report. Chris or who's gonna do the EO report? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The only thing we have is the quick renewal update, so we are still going through the CE audits for the pharmacist licensees. 124 pharmacists received the audit letter, and they have about a month left to complete. So we're still going through that, and once that's over, we can report back. But the chair, you asked about some numbers from the past. The only numbers that I can report today is the 2023, when we did when the board did the audit, 122 pharmacist license were audited. That's
They
it.
all successfully completed their CE? We don't know.
I don't have the record to confirm what the final completion or compliance numbers were.
Okay, so 124 cent, it's by USPS, so everybody needs to check their mail because they have until what date is the deadline?
I can confirm, but it's sometime, I think May.
What's your deadline?
I don't remember. You have that date for me?
Yeah, so anyway,
It's either 20 something or at the end of the month. In May,
Okay.
so.
yeah, so everybody needs to check their mail.
Is there a list somewhere so somebody can look up, see if their name was on the list and they didn't?
You can always contact the board. Yeah, so the notices went out either by email or mail. So if they didn't receive it, then it could be possible that their address isn't up to date or there was some other mail carrier issue.
But
But
which way did they get it? Email or mail? Which one?
For sure, mail.
for sure mail, but if we have the opportunity to send out by email, we
We have so far 97 responded. So
May 21st.
Until May 21st.
I think it's 60 days, yeah. So the 60 days based on the date of the letter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess if they didn't get the letter, mail, then. So anyway, we're putting it in the minutes that they need to check their snail mail. Okay. HPHA. Corey's here, so.
I'm here, okay. Legislative updates that I've got for the ones listed. House Bill 2161, our Center for Pharmacy bill, made it out of Senate Education, but did not make it out of WHAM. So that bill died last Friday. 1643, our Pharmacy Auditing Bill of Rights, that made it through both the House and the Senate and is going to conference. Same with House Bill 1591. This one wasn't our bill, but we've been following it, the preceptor tax credit bill. That one also made it through both chambers and is headed to conference. And then Senate Bill 2047, that was not our bill either. Senator Kehoe-Galole introduced this one for MAC pricing related to PBM reform. And that one died in House Finance because the Insurance Commissioner's Office had a $1.5 million price tag on that initiative. But we'll talk with them about what that should actually look like for next session. That's a really small aspect of PBM reform, the really big price tag. Any questions about those four bills?
Yeah, hi, Corey, thank you. Do you want to do right now your preferred versions from the association for conference?
guys.
Or do you want to do that during?
Why don't we do it during the ledge updates while we're all going through?
Is that okay, Chair?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I have no preference if you guys do. And then our annual meeting is this Saturday. It's still not too late to sign up. If any stragglers are listening on the call, we've got a couple exciting updates. Dean Matsumoto from UH will be presenting about their new EXO pathway. They've got some really exciting numbers with the NAPLEX pass rates and some just cool curricular updates from the university. So she'll be presenting. The CEO from APHA is in Hilo today at the School of Pharmacy, and then he'll be coming over here to Oahu tomorrow to visit some pharmacies. And then he'll be at our conference on Saturday. And then after the conference, there's also a pharmacy technician appreciation Palhana. So in case you haven't heard about that and you're not getting our emails, it's free for technicians to attend. There'll be a little bit of networking and a couple different presentations for the techs, but it's really just to re-engage the technician workforce now that there's a lot of things going on with you all and with the association that relate to tech work. So that is all I've got.
Just FYI, I don't know why, all of a sudden we got a lot of OIP emails warning about that, yeah. So luckily, this agenda, nobody complained, but with my experience so far, I mean, we are lucky, nobody complained on this one, so they asking for a little bit more details. So my EO will contact you, asking for a little bit more summary, yeah. Okay. So just to prevent OIP cancel out.
Okay. Sorry, what's OIP?
Office of Information Practices.
Okay, good. Sunshine.
So they want basically a title or a one sentence description about the bill so that the reader does not have to go to another website to look up what HB 2161 pertains to.
Okay.
So if you can put the title and a one sentence description, that would be sufficient for OIP purposes.
Would it be easier then if I just don't do legislative updates? I mean, if we're already gonna go through all those bills anyway, is there a reason that I would do a one-liner if they're already included in the agenda somewhere else?
I mean, maybe for the individual bills, but I mean, as far as legislative updates of things that are going along with
Okay.
association, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just going forward, whenever you do a report, we will ask for a little bit more information. Even chair's report, same.
Okay.
Yeah, we can help on
Yeah.
our end to get your section organized.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so next section is approval of last meeting's minutes. Are there any corrections or comments about minutes?
I have a comment about the chair's report, the meeting in MPJE, I was got that with you and Ellen, but I didn't see that in the minutes.
Your guys' participation in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just missing Mark, right?
Yeah, it's me.
This is that, it was me and Alan, but it was the three of us had gone, so
Right.
just add Mark.
Okay.
Anything else? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes with Mark's correction?
I move to make,
Wait, Mark, can I get a second? All in favor, aye?
I,
Okay, correspondence to the board. So I asked that all the correspondence get added to the agenda so that we can, at the meeting, each review and agree on response. So the first item was for HPH regarding regulatory requirements for drug studies, and I assigned it to Sherry, so she can kind of talk about that item. And I think Curtis, I saw his name on the call. Yep, so he's here too. Do we want to let Curtis talk about his issue and then you respond?
You
that
should
easier?
you can always offer the 5-minute testimony now, Jeff.
Okay. Kurt, can we unmute Curtis? And Curtis, do you want to present what your question to the board was so that then we can respond?
Okay, hey, good morning. I'm not well versed, so some of the lingo I use might not be correct, but basically we were approached to do a drug study. It was involving phentermine, and it was going to be shipped in from out of state, and we were going to be a study site for that, dispensing out of our outpatient pharmacy at Kapiolani. There's a lot of questions about what licensing is required for the company that is shipping in the phentermine. what state licenses were needed or who they needed to register with. And there's also questions about us dispensing with it labeled as a placebo, what the reporting requirements were to the state PMP, and also what we could do with those patients receiving the placebo to make it appear that they are also receiving a controlled medication so that the blind wouldn't be broken to the patient. I'm gonna try and bring up the email, but that's the basic questions for now. I know there's a lot more detailed questions that I emailed the board, so I'm gonna try and find that in just a jiffy.
Want to take a stab?
It would refer to the regulations from CFR Part 312, which is the federal regulations on investigational new drug applications, which from that email, this study does have an IND number. And it has things about shipping, et cetera.
Yeah, it looks like, Chris, the email that was sent, your study people, maybe who answered all the questions, is the IND people? The guidelines for investigational drug use, I think it answers all of the questions.
Have a controlled substance question?
The controlled substance question, obviously, we can't answer, right? So we're gonna have to refer you to NAD. Then the labeling question is in IND, right? How they label it.
It's not that specific.
So you would say something like phentermine or placebo?
With the strength.
Phentermine 8 milligram
Or
tablets or placebo capsule or placebo. That would be okay. What else was his other question? There was like 3 questions. Oh, the shipping part.
Shipping is in the CFR Part 3. Yeah.
Curtis, which one are we missing? Are we missing any more questions?
I think that was it. The ones, yes, the labeling specifically on the drug bottle, if that was okay. The phentermine phentermine 8 milligrams / placebo, excellent.
Or
Placebo. Okay.
Yeah, capsules,
then-
yeah.
I believe one of the last emails we got was just to clear it with our own legal team. If it checks out with them, then we should be good to go for the next time it's offered. Did I interpret that correctly? As long as the NED clears their side with the reporting requirements.
The reporting requirements, and you meet all the CFR 312, right? The investigational, you follow all their rules. What else? Is that all your questions on me? I think that was it.
I think so. Thank you very much for your time.
Can you send me those citations?
Okay, anything else, Curtis? You good?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So FDA would,
CFR
to government regulations on investigational new drugs, 312.
312, right?
Yeah, it's called CFR regulation, Part 312, investigational new drug application.
Okay, the next one was miscellaneous permits required for out-of-state wholesale distributors to the state. So that one I assigned to Mark.
So there was some communication whether or not we license out-of-state wholesalers. And our wholesale permit is specific for in-state. However, the miscellaneous permit under 461-15A7 talks about wholesale distribution from out-of-state requiring a miscellaneous permit. And part of that also, we've had many questions about the pharmacist requirements that's in there, and it's specifically in that section. Under
461.
461-15A7. For an out-of-state pharmacy or entity engaging in the practice of pharmacy in any manner to distribute, which is wholesale, ship, mail, or deliver prescription drugs or devices into the state without first obtaining a permit from the board. And this is section is, it shall be unlawful if you do that. And then under that, 7D says have in its employ registered pharmacist whose registration is current and in good standing. So from what I see, that's a requirement for out-of-state wholesalers to try to send it to the state.
So that was I think our question was which of the 1 through 7, if someone sends an application to us saying they're doing wholesale, are you saying that they have to choose 7, which includes the pharmacist?
If they're wholesaling,
Okay,
so they're engaging in the practice of pharmacy to distribute. That's wholesale.
distribute is wholesale.
Yes, there's dispensing, which is you put a patient's name on a prescription label and dispense it. And to distribute, you're actually selling wholesale.
Okay. And how does that relate to the uses 1 and 2, or not 1 and 2, but one of the other wholesale uses for the PMP permit?
That would probably be in the other section. Do you have?
Number 3, 461.15.3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that talks about wholesale as well.
And I think our question also related to that is, it's not clear whether these are intended, I mean, obviously, except for number 7, intended for in-state or out-of-state entities. I mean, assuming that we typically are we are having applicants coming from out of state. We kind of have an MO, but we don't know how that relates between 1, 2, and 7. Or sorry, not 1, but at least 3 and 7. Yeah. Because I think one of the arguments from applicants has been that they're using it for number 3 and they don't require from their home state a pharmacist.
And when I did the research, only 2 states require pick for wholesale and distributor licenses. And we also, Hawaii doesn't require for in-state wholesaler. So we have gotten a pushback that this we cannot meet that because we don't have any pharmacists on staff.
So difference between 3 and 7, number 7 says out-of-state pharmacy versus number 3 says wholesaler. So my question, I guess, is number 7, would that be like 503B? Like a
It could be
pharmacy that's
503B.
distributing things? What else would fall into 7?
So it's entity.
Oh, pharmacy or entity. Engaging in the practice of pharmacy.
Is there ever an instance where, so a pharmacy is actually having a large, robust wholesale? Okay, that's 503. Okay.
That's when they're compounding, basically making a drug and selling it to.
Okay. And there's another one in there, sorry, I forget which one, number for compounding.
Yeah.
And so I guess it kind of makes me feel like 7 should be tied to one of the other options as well to better clarify the purpose, but that's not really how the law is designed. So yeah, it's hard for us to know how to, well, one, to discern what entity we're dealing with as non-pharmacists.
Correct.
The other is the concern for delegation approvals of these applications. Right now, I think we from the administrative side are just asking for this clarity so that we can better get these apps to the meetings when they need to be.
So are you asking about on the application, these things, which?
Well, those are supposed to kind of correspond with the numbers, right, from 461.15. They don't match exactly.
Correct.
So there's a lot of like nuance to this historical information that's just kind of lost to the ether. So we're trying to get back in and get everything clarified.
Yeah.
And we also included the past meeting minutes in the correspondence, where there are a couple minutes, the past board has explicitly said that the Hawaii does not license out-of-state wholesalers. So not that that is binding, that is just, information only at the time of the information they had received for the correspondence they were responding to. But just for the context of this conversation, I thought it was important to have that. Because that is also some of the pushback that like this was the guidance we were given a few years ago. Now it seems to be changing that you're requiring PIC or you're requiring PMP to do wholesaling, where it wasn't before like that before. So we would feel much better if we have more farm determination from the board moving forward, so that we also feel that our application is very confusing, so we would like to make amendments, update that form so that we are clear who is required, like which I think it should clarify if we are asking these requirements for in-state, these requirements for out-of-state, because that way it's written in the law, the in-state shouldn't have those requirements that are under the 46115A7. So those are the sort of like sticky mechanisms from our end. So if it makes sense to make sort of make rules, this is also related to our rule.
9531. Yeah, we have only 4 sentences and very vague.
Yeah.
Since we are going through the rule of revision, maybe it's a good time.
Yeah.
to ask some.
So we had a pig, we had 2 pigs going at one point about, one was about miscellaneous permits, the other was about tax. So we did a lot of work, and we were trying to redo the application for miscellaneous permit. I know Pat was on that group, I was on that working group, and updating the, for this very reason, because the miscellaneous permit is very vague. I mean, you could have compounding pharmacies doing things and sending in sterile products into the state. And we have, it's so loose, the miscellaneous permit has no rules. I mean, it's just kind of out there. And so we're trying to rein it in, like, and to describe exactly what they're doing when they apply for permits and stuff like that. So I would say, you know, if we need to get a working group back together, we did have a ton of work already done. If we can find that work and continue that PIG group to kind of go finish that, a lot of that stuff was done. We researched what other states do. We researched, you know, especially the sterile part, because, you know, we had the New England issue where they were shipping things and people died, right? And we talked about how Hawaii doesn't have any safeguards for that. So our miscellaneous permit is just basically a miscellaneous permit. If you're not in state doing normal pharmacy business, you fall into the miscellaneous category. So.
And that's been for a long time.
Yeah.
I had assumed that the miscellaneous permit was more recent to deal with this nuance, but it's been there
Yeah.
pretty much the entire time.
And 1695 actually defines wholesale distributor as entity in the state. Well, that's where the wholesale license, what we've always said, we don't license wholesale out of state, but it does fall under the miscellaneous permit as someone who does wholesale activities from another state into Hawaii.
So you're saying that the previous minutes, it would make sense that it maybe showed one part, but not the second part. Okay.
That they're answering the question, yes, you don't need a wholesale license because we don't license out of state.
However,
But you need a miscellaneous permit.
okay.
I did see that Peg said it, mentioned in the minutes, but I did not see the outcomes or the presentations or the.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so if there's a way to get some of that, like, knowledge, like, find it somewhere.
Or somebody.
Well, I was part of the pig. James was on the pig.
Okay.
Are you on that group? No. I mean, I could try to see what we had going. We had like even like a mock application, like what the application should be, like scope of your work and that kind of thing. That way the board, when the board gets a miscellaneous permit, we know it's sterile compounding. Are you, you know, when was the last time your hood, or all those different questions that I didn't work on. Pat worked on that section. So that the board knows, you know, that they're being regulated in their state, right?
So we can go back in and dig through everything. And then also we'll probably just reach out to you and
And, I
as
guess,
chair.
well, and Jane, I mean, you guys don't have James' old emails or work?
Not emails, we have files, I can.
Is not, everything is there, let's just.
Cause we had minutes. I mean, I can see if I still have minutes from the PIG, so. yeah.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay, I'll find, I'll see if I can.
So are we gonna go over this later with a rulemaking session, yeah? Because a lot of confusion about, I noticed there about the definition of a wholesaler and then entity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something we don't have to explain to anybody asking what entity means, because EO has no knowledge about this kind of things.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever defined anywhere, what an entity is.
I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Is that, because if it's defined in your
Shows so many
chapter or something,
places.
but it affects somewhere else, if they want to make a definition. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody tracked the bill that had to do with redefining health providers. But I think the big thing was it was so general. So it became an issue.
Should we vote
I was gonna suggest that we first organize everything together and maybe at the next meeting would be we could establish a fixed. I think we should talk with the previous PIG member. But chair. About what kind of historical, because we don't want to redo.
even though we vote on that matter today, it doesn't mean you guys are gonna start working right away, so just like because we say it here already, so just
Do you need a motion to create or to
Yes.
reconvene
Uh-huh.
the PIG?
yeah.
Do we have to vote on, or do we have to appoint people to that PIG now?
Or you can volunteer someone, yeah, so.
Voluntold somebody?
Sherry,
What, we're looking at me.
to properly reestablish this pig, should they close down the other pig that we apparently have seen no closure to and then reestablish the new one?
I would recommend starting clean, and today ABC is appointed to the new permitted interaction group. Their goal or their responsibility, their homework is to do XYZ, and then they report back.
They communicate with
They report back to the full board.
Yeah.
Not at that meeting, but at the second meeting, the board can then act on what they reported back to.
You ready to make that motion?
So I guess it would be the motion, you could say to
Established.
establish the close and then reestablish the pig.
And appoint X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z.
I'm making the motion X, Y, Z.
Oh, okay, so I'll make the motion. No, I'm not gonna be here, so X, Y, and Z. Or X, Y, the people that aren't here.
Yeah.
I mean, also, just two members.
Oh, yeah, it can only be two members and it has to be other people.
So, two members can still meet on the regular to discuss these things without establishing a pig. Or actually, it's under quorum, right?
Yes.
So three people,
Up to
three people can
yeah.
still meet without establishing a pig. So it can be an informal inquiry, and research as well. It doesn't have to be established by a pig necessarily. So
No, shaking head, no.
It's sunshine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta
sorry,
have,
two members. I'm thinking of,
still you need it, okay? So.
Still need PIG.
Yeah. If you discuss rule outside of the board meeting, we gotta establish. Yeah.
Okay.
Committee group.
So I'll make a motion to create a permitted interaction group to discuss miscellaneous permit application. And I nominate Mark, the chair of the PhD. I'm sorry, Mark.
Thank you.
And I guess I'll volunteer. I don't know how that works once I'm done with my role, but
Non-board members can still.
okay, so I will still continue if that's okay, with the permitted interaction group with Mark. to work on this. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
I,
Okay, is that okay, Sherry? Was that enough? Okay. All right. Where are we now? Okay, so the next question was about the third party logistics provider. I guess I got that one.
One thing on the last one,
Oh wait,
wasn't that the question about the radioactive drugs in that as well, or was that a separate?
that was a separate one, I think.
Okay.
That was the last one. So I didn't really find anything different, like than what we've said about the third party, you know. I don't know if anyone else had a different, so this is when the Ryder Integrated Logistics, are they on the call? Do they want to provide testimony? Are they here? The Genesis Harshey? Huh? No? Okay, so the question was, Ryder Integrated Logistics as an authorized third-party logistics provider requests confirmation on whether a third-party logistics provider license or a medical device distributor license is required for distributing Class 1 and Class 2 OTC medical devices and OTC drugs. And so, thank you for the old testimony that is talking about the board, saying that it wasn't required. Couldn't find anything different.
And part of the miscellaneous permit stuff, you know, with the wholesale, it talks about wholesale is prescription drugs and devices. So it's OTC. That's outside of that.
Yeah, so it's Class 1 and 2 OTC, so that's not medical devices, OTC drugs.
Yep.
So.
Can you just for the record describe what a third party logistics provider does?
They're basically like a courier, right? They're
They store
moving-
product and then
Store.
send it.
Okay. So they retain medications or other devices and for the purpose of transporting them.
Yeah. So I think, like the past minutes, you know, the FDA defined them as they're not licensed wholesalers, they're just moving it. They don't own it, so they're not true, technically a wholesaler, they get it and they're just there to like move it around. Whereas a wholesaler buys it, stores it, sells it again. These people are just truly, I don't know, store and ship type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Is there a difference in how they store versus a wholesaler? I mean, obviously that difference is one owns the product, the other one
Right.
is just moving it around, but is there a difference in how they store?
We have nothing in our laws for 3PLs as far as requirements of storage and all that kind of stuff we do for wholesalers. So I don't know federally if they're,
no, it's the same thing, like the FDA, like they don't do anything with those guys either. So they're kind of just,
but they still have to report through the track and trace, right?
yeah. Cause they would be a person that would have control of that drug, right? So they would still show on DCCA, cause they would be, but.
So they cannot be entity under 461-15-7.
Because they're not selling.
Okay.
They're not selling and they're not engaging in
Yeah.
practice of pharmacy.
And one of those
As
definitions
OTCs.
says somebody who's transporting is not a wholesaler.
So the definition in your rules say the term wholesale distributor should not include any carrier for hire or person or entity hired solely to transport prescription drugs.
And this is OTC still, so it's another reason, because they're not even falling into that rule, because they're doing OTC, is what they're saying, Class 1 and over the counter. They're moving Thailand. Or, you know.
Or some
or like
devices, you know, like
Glucose monitor,
glucose monitors.
right?
Yeah.
So that's not in our,
That is 3 to 8.
or is it even Department of Health? I don't even know if it falls with them.
It's not NED, is it?
No, definitely not them. So it's over the counter stuff, like not prescription drugs. They don't need a pharmacist to sell it, right? So they're
I think it's under food and drug because they classify 1, 2, and 3
OTCs are with, still
devices
with
as
them.
well.
Yeah. So anyway, to respond to this one. We're good with that one? Okay, and last one was, whether an in-state pharmacy manufacturing drugs needs a miscellaneous permit in addition to pharmacy license. And that one. Who did we give that to? Did we not give it to anybody? Anyway, so we can talk about that one. Where is that correspondence? Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one's coming regarding radioactive drugs. Is he here? Danny Kim. So asking if these, if they're gonna be distributing radioactive drugs without patient-specific information on it within the state, if they need a miscellaneous permit. So this miscellaneous permit thing is just really.
Hitting it over and over. So if they're manufacturing and selling without a patient-specific prescription, that's distribution. That has to be the 3B. That falls under food and drug.
So if there's no patient-specific thing and you're compounding, you need a 503B license through the FDA. They do not have that. So no miscellaneous permit's gonna help that. So they need to have a patient-specific prescription.
So in state, it would be if you're selling wholesale, you need a wholesale license, not a miscellaneous permit.
But they would also need 503B.
Correct. Yeah,
Licensure.
because they're manufacturing.
Manufacturing.
Just to clarify, so the 46115A. Sorry,
Three.
six. Six, where it says for any person as principal or extended to conduct or engage in the business of preparing, manufacturing, compounding, packing, or repacking any drugs without first permission from the board. So you're saying that it does not fall under that? This is one of the,
They're in-state, right, though? They said, so they don't need a miscellaneous permit. They already have PHY 983, so they're licensed here.
So the authorities under that license would include compounding.
Yes.
Yeah, they can compound under that. That's fine.
manufacturing as well,
Manufacturing would be the 503B.
503B. Okay,
Yeah.
so will you clarify what type of situations that fall under this 46115A6 that I just
In-state?
said?
Yeah, oh, well,
Well,
for
it
the
doesn't
miscellaneous
say,
permit.
it doesn't clarify if it's in state or out of state. That way it's written.
Yeah,
Well, I'm saying he doesn't need one though. He can apply for a miscellaneous permit, but his
Yeah,
PHY 6983 is sufficient.
So I
Right.
guess that's why my question is like, in what? So then you could say that anyone who wants to do manufacturing or compounding would just need to get PHY.
No,
And-
food and drug requires, if you're gonna actually manufacture,
Okay,
503B.
okay.
That's a
But
requirement.
where we are concerned in the Board of Pharmacy, though, we don't require PMP is what you were saying. So my question is, what are the examples for, I guess, in-state entity that is will be permitted under the
15A would.
six?
So
that's the compounding use of the miscellaneous permit.
And where I think it's my suspicion is that it says any person as principal or agent. So it doesn't say entity. So is this only if pertaining to an individual?
A pharmacist in their lab or something.
In the basement.
I'm not sure why the historical part of what. Because we'd say that's practice of pharmacy. So that's a pharmacy permit rather than miscellaneous permit in this state.
Because a pharmacy out of state using number 7 could be compounding, right?
Yes.
Compounding, yes.
Okay.
Manufacturing,
Manufacturing.
no.
So like 6 is kind of moot for the normal, typical use of that miscellaneous permit by pharmacies in another state. Because they already have their license in that state and our miscellaneous permit.
I'm wondering if the manufacturing is in there because 503B is pretty recent. This hasn't changed for a very long time.
10+ years, right?
Yeah, it's like last amended in 2018.
Okay, so for this correspondence though, so they don't need a miscellaneous permit because they already have an existing PH 193. The specific question was if they could then, manufacture non-patient specific. Mr. Question says, please respond to this email confirming whether, oh no, that's us. And to the question was.
The question was more from us.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it's
Because they have applied for PMP, so are we to issue a PMP or are we to ask them to withdraw the application?
Mhm.
So I can't think of an instance when in the state pharmacy would be required to have a miscellaneous permit.
Because that's covers
The
everything.
pharmacy
Everything
would
that they
cover.
can do is in the pharmacy license, right? There's nothing additional that a miscellaneous permit would get. They can already do everything that they want to do except for the manufacturing piece, and that's not even us, that's federal. They can't do non-specific compounding without the 503B.
If they're wholesaling enough prescriptions that they're not compounding, I guess they would need a wholesale license. About 5%, but because there are only 2 licenses a in-state pharmacy should need.
Pharmacy license authorizes us to dispense patient-specific prescription. The purpose of miscellaneous permit is to allow us to perform specialized preparation and compounding that may fall outside of traditional dispensing functions, as well as manufacturing radiopharmaceuticals for distribution pursuant to a prescription for administration by facility. So that's the 503B, right? So miscellaneous permit, when you respond to that, miscellaneous permit does not allow them to do that, because FDA is still gonna supersede that. Good? Miscellaneous permit, like, let's just take it all out. Gosh, so confusing. Okay, and then, I don't know why is this. Oh, you guys are separate, that's why, it's never good. Because I thought this was. Okay, so next agenda item is rules. Oh,
It's
Sorry,
get early
our oversight.
on PGN.
oh, yeah, okay. Is it okay? I'm gonna move number 9, early MPJE, new MPJE up. So we can, because we do have NABP here to present what that holds. So can you unmute NABP, Andrew, and is that the only guy? Yeah. To present their. And then also is the D here. Laura Gomez.
Associate Dean's here.
Yeah, so if you can unmute Laura in case she has questions. Hi, Andrew. Thank you for joining.
Hey, good morning.
Laura's representing School of Pharmacy, who posed a question. If you want to start your presentation, we really
I will.
appreciate.
I will. And thanks for inviting me. And I do sincerely apologize. I couldn't be there in person. There's actually nothing more I would have rather done. But nevertheless, thank you for having me. Let me share my screen here. Maybe. Do I have the ability to
You
share?
should be able to.
Oh, there we go. All right, are you able to see that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Do you have a slide deck? Oh, there it is.
There we go, yeah.
Unzoom or presentation mode. Yeah.
Yes. All right, can you all see that okay?
Yes.
All right, very good. Well, again, thank you for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to kind of update you all on some of the work that NABP has been doing with the Uniform Multi-State Jurisprudence exam, as well as the pilot that we ran with the states of North Dakota and Wisconsin in regards to the early administration of the state-specific MPJE. Just got some introductory slides here. I think you all are well aware of who we are as NAVP, and so just for your own awareness or whatever else, you can flip through those at your leisure. But I'll start here with the early MPJE pilot. The objective was for students who had completed the didactic portion of their doctorate of pharmacy curriculum to be able to take the jurisprudence exam before they graduated. And so once they finished the didactic portion, they were given one attempt to take the MPJE prior to graduation. And we looked at pass rates and the qualitative feedback and just some of the operational efficiencies that came along with that program. So there's a lot of information here that I think is just an overview of our process on how we worked with the colleges both in Wisconsin and North Dakota to evaluate transcripts and verify students were ready to take the MPJE in terms of finishing their third professional year of pharmacy school. We granted the eligibility to take the exam for individuals in Wisconsin. North Dakota still managed that process independent from NABP, so they were still processing the eligibility for those candidates who wanted to take the exam early. The students did need to apply for an e-profile account if they hadn't already had one, and then that is where they would also apply for the examination and be granted that eligibility either by the state of North Dakota or by NABP if they were in Wisconsin. This was just the operational workflow. The top is kind of the traditional workflow that we worked with historically with MPJE and NAPLEX. And then the early MPJE, we had to sort of work in some operational fixes in order to make this work and provide temporary access to students to be able to purchase the MPJE and be granted that authorization to test. In North Dakota, these are the results from the first year of their early administration of the MPJE. And you'll see here, it's down at the bottom, kind of a really small cohort of individuals who participated in the first year. There's only one College of Pharmacy in North Dakota, but there were only 13 individuals that took the exam, and 10 had passed, and their pass rate was a little bit higher than typical historic between 2020 and 2024. You can see there. This year, the pass rate in North Dakota is for early administration is 100% so far. Wisconsin, a larger cohort here you see down there at the bottom. 84 exams were delivered and 59 passed. Their pass rate did dip slightly from the 80.5%. They went down to 74%. And it's not really clear why the reduced passing rate. I think a lot of speculation on that point. This was the first time that this was available to students. They perhaps didn't take it as seriously, or they looked at it as a practice exam. It's just really unclear why that pass rate decreased. Looking at the current pass rate with the early administration in Wisconsin, it is now close to 90% on their MPJE. This is the eligibility overview, and also I think I want to draw your attention to the column on the right, which shows kind of the applications for when individuals applied to take the exam. And some of the things that we've heard, especially in some of the more rural states, is candidates unable to get testing slots at the times that are convenient for them. And so you can see here, by administering this early during non-peak times, individuals are able to take that exam sort of flexible, with some flexibility during their P4 year, and have an easier opportunity to get into those testing sites and really kind of schedule it that's just convenient for them, and not having as much difficulty in scheduling. Now here's just a graphic illustration of the results and the pass rates that we've already kind of talked about, just showing it in a bar graph. And then we also did break it up by the colleges there in Wisconsin as well. These are some opportunities we saw, and we've certainly worked through these with both the state of Wisconsin and North Dakota. It's really important, I think, sort of to summarize this entire chart is communication. And that is between NEVP and the colleges and the students, and NEVP and the students, making sure that everyone is aware of what's needed, such as the profile account, the application process, the authorization to test, and so on and so forth. And of course, getting the information in the rosters from the colleges so that we can properly upload those into our system. The successes here, the feedback from students and the schools of pharmacy were extremely positive. It was very well received. We have had since the pilot released the results, we've had about 25 states wanting to move in this direction and take advantage of the opportunity to administer the MPJE or the UMPJE prior to graduation. And again, this slide is actually a little bit dated. As I mentioned, roughly 25 additional jurisdictions have expressed interest in this. Many of the states that have already adopted the UMPJE, when they've adopted that exam, they've also moved in this direction to provide an opportunity to administer that prior to graduation as well. And so that, I think, will continue to grow as colleges and students look for additional options to sort of ease the burden upon graduation. I'll stop there. Maybe take some questions on the early administration pilot, and before we move on to the UMPJE.
Are there any questions in the audience?
So far, there are none.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I saw on the side max 1 attempt per school's jurisdiction. Does that mean only where the school is, they can only take that one, right?
Yes, that's correct. Mhm.
So, yeah, so again, like if they're home, they want to take Colorado and Hawaii, they can only pick one state then.
They can only take Hawaii, it sounds like, because they're
Whatever state
here,
they're in.
whatever state they're in, that allows
The
it.
school.
Yeah.
That's correct, yes. Mhm.
Laura does have her hand raised.
Okay, good. All right, we unmute her and for her.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, for presenting. I just had a couple questions. I'm Lara from the College of Pharmacy in Hilo. And I noticed for Wisconsin, slide 10 said that the max when the pilot was done was in September. Is that what I read correctly? Okay,
Which-
okay.
Sorry, can you please turn down the volume on your computer speakers? We're getting an echo.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I can't hear you when I do that, but I think, okay, well, I saw that that one was September, but the other state was in January. So can you explain, was it during their P3 year, January versus this is?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the max pilot exams taken, so that was for Wisconsin, the most exams were administered during the month of September. So those students would have been P4s, right around the June area, June timeframe. And then same thing on North Dakota. The month with the most exams administered was January. So that would be just prior to their graduation in May.
Okay, got it. So it's taken during their fourth year.
Yes. After they finish their third
Oh, okay,
professional
great,
year.
gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
More questions for him? Okay, we're good.
Okay. We'll move on to the uniform multi-state pharmacy jurisprudence exam. This came to us as a resolution from one of the districts, and that resolution directed us to look at whether the development of a uniform jurisprudence exam would be able to meet the needs of the state from the jurisprudence perspective. One of the things, and I know Mark has attended many of the MPJE item writing workshops that we have. And there's always an opportunity to kind of look at other state questions, and there's generally a fair amount of overlap, and oftentimes with just a few changes to terminology, the questions can be utilized in multiple states. And so we looked at whether this could be something that could be developed and then utilized in lieu of each of the state-specific MPJE exams. We started in first quarter 2024 with a steering committee. They reviewed the report, which was back from 2023, and then sort of aligned on what the next steps and the next process would be for the exam development. Second quarter, third quarter 2024, we recruited a uniform MPJE review committee. The initial committee meeting took place, and an exam blueprint with content outline was developed. And then in 2025, practice analysis was performed, the content outline was approved and posted, and memos were sent to colleges and in the states. And then item development began, and we had recruited several item writers. We tried to recruit those folks that had multiple state licenses, so they had a broad understanding of multiple state pharmacy law. And then the review committee held its meeting to review those questions that were written. And then pre-test questions and the stats were considered, and then standard setting, and then onboarding and training for states begun at that point as well. In January of this year, we launched the uniform MPJE practice exam. And then starting on April 1st, we had 6 states begin utilizing the UMPJE. And those 6 states, the reason we needed to begin a little early is we wanted to make sure that the exam results would meet the necessary standard setting requirements so we can launch the exam on June 1st. And that's the target date for the broader launch of the UMPJE is June of this year. The one thing with I think the key takeaway here on the UMPJE development is it's a couple of things. One, to recognize that this is not a federal law exam, so it's not strictly federal law. Of course, it will cover federal law and those specifically around controlled substances and some of the things related to FDA and DSCSA and those types of items. But it also will cover state-specific laws that are conceptually the same across the practice of pharmacy, regardless of where you're at. So these are kind of universal laws, universal regulations, and is used to determine whether or not that pharmacist can practice competently from a jurisprudence standpoint. Several of the states that have adopted this exam have also implemented a state-specific module. That is something that if there were particular laws that were very unique to the state of Hawaii, this would be something that you could consider as an add-on, whether it's a CPE type of program, or if it's just something that you list and you ask individuals to attest to. There's many different ways that states that have adopted UMPJE, but also wanted to call attention to some of the most critical state-specific laws. That's where that plus module comes into play. Here's the content outlines. There's 4 content domains there on the left, and then on the right, there are examples of each of those different domains. This is posted on NEBP's website if you needed to reference this in the future. The high stakes examination, UMPJE, the criteria here is identical to the state-specific MPJE. The biggest difference here, or I suppose the only difference here compared to MPJE, is that the multiple choice questions, there are 3 options for the multiple choice. So, some of the MPJE questions, I think some states may still have, K-type questions. Those questions are not on the UMPJE. There's also not any of the select all that apply type questions. These are all strictly ABC multiple choice questions. The pre-exam I mentioned was launched in January of this year. 40 questions. There's a 50-minute time limit, and then the candidates are then provided with a score report. State adoption. So, looking at the various states that have already adopted the exam down there at the bottom that are highlighted, we have Arizona, Iowa, Kansas, North Carolina, Ohio, and Rhode Island are currently utilizing the exam that started April 1st. And then we've got planned adopters that are planning to begin utilizing June 1st of this year, and it's Illinois, Florida, Montana, Nebraska, Maryland, Washington, and West Virginia. And then we have 3 additional states that are considering this and are in the process of amending their regulations to make that possible. I looked at Hawaii regulations, and your regulations are quite specific in that it does say that that candidates must take and pass the Hawaii multi-state pharmacy jurisprudence examination. In some of the states, the wording has been vague, and it just it's written as multi-state pharmacy jurisprudence exam, and it doesn't specify the state. And so in those states, they have been able to adopt the exam just through a matter of policy rather than regulatory change. I'll leave it up to you all to determine if you wanted to go down this road, of course, what way you'd have to do or what you would have to do to adopt that, the UNPJE. With that, I'd be happy to answer questions, whether on this or the early administration. I'll note one other thing with the UNPJE, and we've got, about 12 states already moving in this direction. License portability is a big deal, obviously, in the more contiguous states. And so the UNPJE is also kind of setting the stage to create more license portability as it relates to pharmacist practice. And NEVP is also working on developing a pharmacist practice privilege that will allow pharmacists to practice in multiple states without obtaining full licensure in those states. And so that's a project that we hope we'll continue to work on in 2026, and state legislatures will have an opportunity to adopt that framework starting in 2027.
Any questions on UNPJE?
Hey, Andrew, one of the questions I have is this an adaptive exam as the MPJE is?
Yes, it is. It is just like in terms of the technology and the scoring and all that background is exactly the same as the MPJE and the NATOX.
So how long do they need to have it to get all the stats then? These are all new questions, right? So, so it's just going to be right or wrong for now, and then at some point the stats will come out. Or...
Yeah. So I think this early cohort, the results of the exam are being used to develop to confirm the standards and set the standards. In terms of the performance of items, that will take time for those kinds of statistics to be able to be published.
And is there anywhere that we can see what the modules that the different states are doing to put their specific law questions so they can test their students? We have a lot of really weird controlled substance laws.
Yeah. I'm sure that those modules are accessible. I'd be happy to, probably in the 6 states that started June 1st, they probably have some options I could share with you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, okay.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for joining.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. We go back to, or do you want to discuss this some more? Does Laura have questions for us anymore?
Not at the time, but I do think, sorry, let me turn down my volume. But I do think that the college will want to set up a meeting with the board to further discuss this. I think that would probably be a good next step eventually. Ray is not able to join today's meeting. She's with Michael Hogue and things down here, and he looks pretty busy. But I will give her an update on this.
We looked at the law though. I mean, we don't really have to change there's nothing in the law that's gonna stop us from.
Doing the
okaying
early.
this. Early.
Yeah,
The early stuff is okay, like.
it says you have to take it, not when.
Yeah, so I think, there's not that many barriers if we did, if the school pharmacy wants to do it, I don't think. Obviously, we'd have to work with, PVL, because that's a change for them.
Yeah.
And all that stuff that they were talking about, the transcript and NAPP, but in terms of the board, I don't think we need to change rules or laws to allow them to do it, so that's good.
Yeah.
But the two states did it different, I believe Andrew said, as far as one managed it themselves and then the other one allowed NABP to manage that.
Yeah, but I think that would.
You're talking specifically about Uri.
Early,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, the other one, we have some. But
So everyone. Yeah, but I mean, any thoughts about doing earlier and not allowing? Is that?
no, I looked at the rules and the law.
Well, but we're, yeah,
I think that the school would then not have to contact NABP to start the process, and then we'd have to probably bring on PBL in terms of that transcript being unofficial transcripts and all that kind of stuff too.
What NABP needs to do is allow them to take it.
Yeah, so I think the board's not gonna say there's a law, right? We're just gonna have to the logistics need to get worked out between PVL and Board of Pharmacy to authorize the test. But there's nothing that would prohibit them from.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's good. What?
We gotta communicate with a licensing branch of application staff, so we can take it.
If the college decides to move forward with it. So you'll let us know.
Yeah, I think they need to work with NABP first or yeah. If that's something that you guys are gonna do. Hey, Laura?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so back to chapter 95. Rule amendments.
Do you want to do the pharmacy walkthrough or?
Oh, no, do you want to move it ahead? Okay, sorry.
We
Okay,
have
so we do have somebody here? Okay, we'll move to pharmacy lockers and promote Kelsey. So I brought this to the board because I saw this on the internet. New pharmacy locker is located at Hawaii Island Community Health Center in Kau, Family Health. And so I just had some questions or wanted to find out more about the pharmacy lockers. Yeah, can you tell us about the pharmacy lockers that you guys have in Kau?
I do apologize, Chair. I do have public testimony at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, let her speak.
You're still muted, Melissa.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, let me put my hand down. Well, thank you for allowing us to tell you a little bit about the lockers that we have down there. Would it be easiest if I just describe the operating procedures we use to utilize the kiosk?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So patients opt in or consent to have their prescriptions go to the kiosk using either self-enrollment online, calling the pharmacy, or enrolling right at the kiosk. And they provide their email and or their phone number upon enrollment as their point of verification. Patients who are eligible to participate must be patients of our health center at Hawaii Island Community Health Center and meet other criteria in order to have their prescription filled at our health center in accordance with FQHC rules and regulations for filling at an entity-owned pharmacy. And then we process their prescriptions through our usual customary procedures for filling prescriptions in our pharmacy. Patient is contacted to confirm that they have given their consent for us to deliver their medication to the kiosk. Payment is collected, so these are sold prescriptions only that are delivered to the kiosk for pickup, and then they're assigned to the designated bin in the kiosk. Then those sold prescriptions are packaged in a sealed prescription bag and affixed with the stock label code that comes from the bin to assign that prescription to the bin. Then those are transported in a secured tote with a tamper evidence seal and a packing slip to the kiosk by our staff where the stocking is performed. Then those members of our staff who have stocking privileges are able to stock into that kiosk. Whoever is doing the stocking, the kiosk takes a picture of that person to document who put the prescription into the assigned bin, and then a quality assurance check is performed at the moment of stocking, in which the patient name, the number of prescriptions, and the medications that are listed on that external portion of the bag are confirmed to match before they're placed in the bin. Once they're in the bin and the bin is closed, the door is closed, the patients receive an automatic message generated by the software in the kiosk that notifies them their prescription is ready for pickup. And they receive a QR code and a alphanumeric pickup code so that if they don't have a smartphone that's scannable, they can use the alphanumeric code for pickup. And that comes via email and text message, depending on which route they use during registration. When they get there to pick it up, either themselves or their designated representative, they scan that QR code that I mentioned, or if they don't have a smartphone, then they can use that alphanumeric code instead. And they also enter a second identifier, which is the patient date of birth. The kiosk takes their picture to validate who it is that's picking it up. And then the information about the prescriptions that are in the bin is displayed on the screen for them to validate that's what they want to pick up. If they have multiple prescriptions in multiple bins, such as if there's a refrigerated prescription in the refrigerated bin, then they can choose both. But before they go forward, there is an option for counseling at that moment that they can choose a button that will connect them to the pharmacy. So there is a telephone on the kiosk that direct dials the pharmacy for them to call. There's also a video option. We don't have it enabled right now because internet functionality can be spotty occasionally, but we know phones always work. So we go with the phone, and they can do the phone consultation there if they haven't already done it when they spoke with the pharmacy staff, when their desire to have their prescription delivered was validated way back during the filling process. After that whole portion is complete, so they either have selected not to talk to the pharmacist, or they've selected to talk to the pharmacist. Once they do that, then they can sign for their prescription. And once they sign, then the bin door will open and they can retrieve their medication. And that's the general overview of the process.
Right. We have, ready to.
So what staff members are the ones that are okay to, and staff members are the ones that do the delivery?
Yeah. So these are sold prescriptions. So it could be a member of the pharmacy staff, but generally speaking, it's a member of our facilities transport team. So those are in sealed totes with a slip on the outside, or our dental team because they go down there 3 days a week. So they're all employees of the health center.
Are there any controlled substances that are dispensed?
No.
Let's see. The refrigerated, well, let's see, actually, that's not it. How about if you have medications that are not picked up, what happens to those medications?
So these are, again, they're sold prescriptions. So it's the patient's medication, but if they haven't picked it up within the predefined time frame, then it's pre-established that we're going to go ahead and credit their insurance back for that medication, and then we're just going to destroy the medicine at the health center. It's not returned to the pharmacy. We use a FDA-approved medication destruction method, which is Dispose RX. It's a powder you put in to dispose of the medication.
And so that whole process, like the patients know that if they don't pick it up whatever that time frame, what is the time frame?
So we use the insurance guidelines of 9 days. So when we reach that 10th day, and of course we're making outreach to them, they're getting emails and text messages from the system reminding them that they have a medication that's in the kiosk. But our staff will also call them. But we haven't had anyone yet who's not picked it up. So so far we're good on that, but that would be the time frame, would be the 10th day.
And then after the 10th day, then you return it to stock.
Well, we credit the insurance, but because we want them at patient, if when they eventually decide that they actually want to get their medication, we want them to be able to get that and through their insurance if they need to. And so we're willing to eat the cost of that medication, but we can't accept that back for return. So it's destroyed at the health center location. So we're selective about what medications we're willing to take that risk on. Clearly, I'm not going to do that on something that's super pricey. The majority of the medications that are being requested for delivery are low-cost generic medications for chronic medical conditions. It's like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol.
So sorry, this is Christopher Eel. So did I hear you state that there is some discretion for on the pharmacy's end to, okay.
So just because the locker is available for the patient to leverage to increase their access to our services, it doesn't mean that automatically every medication will be delivered. Not everything will fit in the locker. So we've run into that challenge. For example, colonoscopy prep. The box is very small. So we can't fit the colonoscopy prep in that small box. If they need that, we have to use an alternate method for them to pick that up.
As far as the physical location, is it possible for each patient to privately obtain their medications without other people arriving and picking up their meds at the same time? And also on that same question is on the physical structure of the machine or the locker, is there like an entry for staff that's separate from the entry for retail, or is it just the same entry through the same door?
So the locker is in a central location in our Ka'u clinic. So it's in the waiting room. It has a screen that is actually quite hard to see unless you're standing right in front of it. As someone who's actually used the locker, the screen is challenging to see what's actually happening unless you're literally in front of the screen. The screen itself is about this big. And so when we stock the machine, there's a secret entry point for us to get into the stocking section. We push a little icon in the corner and then we're able to get in to stock the medication. But it is not done in a separate location. That happens there. But it's usually in the morning time when there's not a lot of folks around.
Okay.
You still had more questions, right?
Yeah. When is the access to the lockers is it only during regular business hours?
Yes, thank you. I declined to mention that. It was in my notes and I went right past it. So the locker is only available to be accessed during the times when the pharmacy is open, so that pharmacy staff are available to answer that phone when it rings. So even, for example, earlier this morning, our clinic was closed for our monthly meeting time, which means the locker was not able to be accessed. And you get a sign that appears on the window. The screen actually displays an image that says, sorry, closed, and you can't even enroll yourself. It's actually shut down.
So the locker is in the waiting room of the facility?
In the corner of the waiting room.
What kind of security is there?
At our facility?
You know, where the machine is?
There's no human security. So the facility itself is locked during when the facility is closed. We have patient service representatives that sit at the entry windows where staff check in that have a direct line of sight to the device because of the way it's positioned, so they can see it at all times. But we don't have security at that location as far as human security guard there.
How about the temperature monitoring or?
That is 24/7 inside the device, and alerts are sent if the temperature goes out of range. But we have it on a universal power supply, a really giant one. It's very large back behind the machine that I believe provides 8 hours of battery backup to the device.
And that's for the controlled room temp too, or just the
Mhm.
refrigerator?
Yeah.
Other questions that we have?
I have a question. Sorry, I was a little late. It might have been covered, but are you guys allowing just chronic refills or are you doing first fills too?
We can do first fill if the patient can wait for first fill because right now we have delivery Tuesday through Thursday. So if they're able to wait for that first fill, then we certainly can. But again, there's no pharmacies access down in Ka'u right now. So for those patients, for them to even be able to get a medication in the middle of the week delivered to their health center where they get their medical care is a tremendous advantage for them to not have to drive to Keao, Pahoa, wherever they're going to get access a pharmacy.
How far away is the pharmacy from the location the machine is at?
The pharmacy is located in Keao. That facility is right behind the police station. I
How far-
apologize, my geography is very bad.
How far is that as far as how long does it take to drive?
Oh, 1 hour and 10 minutes, depending on weather.
Pretty far.
Yeah.
I think it was like 60 miles from.
And if the road is closed for flooding,
50 miles.
Our volcano.
yes, or whatever other natural disaster comes our way.
I had a kind of, I don't know, off the wall question, but what was the decision making that the Board of Pharmacy wasn't asked before money was put out for a machine like this?
Yeah. So we, as a health center, since that pharmacy opened prior to the merger, when the pharmacy was under the supervision of Bay Clinic Health Center, opened in 2019, has been offering patients the ability to pick up their medications at clinic locations since the time, actually even before that, they had a partnership with Walgreens where they would use contract pharmacy relationships, fill at Walgreens if you could pick up the medication at the clinic locations. So that's been something that's been in progress for almost a decade, where patients could pick up their medication at their clinic location, a sold prescription. That is essentially their prescription. They're just identifying they would like to get it at their health center where they get their medical care. So in our mind, using the locker was a more secure and safe manner for them to have it stored and able to be accessed at their convenience without having to go to the window, wait for a nurse, have a nurse get it out of a locked cabinet where it's stored in the back. It was more safe and secure. And since we'd already been delivering it for them to pick up at their clinic locations, we honestly didn't even think to ask the Board of Pharmacy specifically since it was a sold prescription and not a remote pharmacy operation. So I do apologize for that oversight.
Just from audience or the public?
I've not seen it.
Comments? Okay. Question? Are you done?
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 7. Chapter 95. You guys, do you want to lead that? You want to talk about that? Sorry, just looking out. Sorry. So we're going to discuss 6095-20 temporary license.
Right, that was typo 23.
23, yeah. I thought last time we talked about temporary license that we could just get rid of. We've had to get rid of it.
So just context, I put all the ones that are currently amending, I believe. So that doesn't mean that you all have to talk about every single line.
Okay.
I believe, that there was a outstanding questions about the restoration and then based on our previous conversations and previous agenda items, we wanted to revisit the miscellaneous permit.
Okay.
Okay, we'll say this, the only two. Yes.
That's the things we as a EO.
Want to talk about, okay. So,
Temporary
You guys-
license is gone.
is
The
it,
temporary license was gone, right?
can we,
It's completely out of here. It's not on here.
it's right here. It's online.
It is.
1695.23.
Oh, it was 20, sorry.
Sorry, that was my.
Okay.
So is there a reason we need to keep it?
Because the statutes has temporary license. 461-7.
461 dash.
26.
461-7.
7, is this 6?
7.
7? Or is it 6?
461-7 proposed license. We have that in the statutes, so that's why we just
Have a row.
decide to leave it. Or we can amend some here.
Once the statute is amended. Statute has
Do
to.
we ever do any reciprocal? At least by. It's not reciprocal if you need the MPJE.
Yeah. I mean, if we can't get rid of it, then there's no sense in, I mean, it's useless. But to change the law, it's gonna take forever. Just leave it alone.
Well, you just find a friendly legislator. You just find a friendly legislator to propose next year.
I think. It's old. What was it, 1998? So the law's from 1998.
Yes, oh, that's the last.
Yes, 95-23.
Huh?
Because this is a part that has the. That'll be valid until the next administration is not checked. That's that weird part.
Yeah.
There is no next.
It could be, that's why, because it's from 1998, was when the law came out, and like we only took Naplex once a year or something, or
Every 6 months or
something,
something.
they only gave it twice a year. But now they can take it whenever they want. But do we need to change it though?
It's not changed what happens. Someone applies for it or asks for it or.
I mean, they can, yeah, I mean, they can do it. So for their reasons. I mean, this is still there. Until the law is actually removed, then it probably would just stay in, right?
I guess the question, do we need to change the rules so that it prevents someone from trying to exercise this temporary license?
It's still 1,500 hours.
You know, number one, actually, about like MPJ, yeah, so we, 95.2, we changed to, or it's a successor recognized by the board, so you wanna add that to this one too?
Over in that.
Just be consistent,
Yeah.
Every time it says Hoy MPG, it should say that.
Or successor, yeah. We're gonna go in there. Or it's successor. Okay, I don't really care.
Then I think it's the name of that flex.
Can we just, we say we're gonna make that NPL. What's the correct one? Netflix took the, Netflix is the correct one? Okay.
Netflix is the current one.
Alright. Yeah, then intern permit. Okay, we're good with that, right? We already talked about 1695.24. 1695.31. This one is.
Big question mark.
Come back to that. All right, 69,530 miscellaneous permit, application for miscellaneous permit shall be filed at least 15 days before the board meeting. That's all it says. You guys want to take that out? No.
Probably add more,
You guys
but
want to add more? How long you got? My stomach's growling.
Well, we don't have a definition for wholesalers, you know, people get confused.
No, we do have a definition.
the definition.
It's not in the statute, but in our rule.
Yeah,
I was
the
like, we have
very,
a
very long
definition.
one.
Yeah. Page number 10.
Wholesale and wholesale distributor.
There's the word entity, person or entity.
Yeah, I think the major thing is just from the correspondence section for 31 is that if you look at the statute, it shows you if you want to do these things, you need a permit. So, and it lists the things you need it for. The miscellaneous permit section for HAR describes how you send in your application. But again, we're left with wondering what the requirements are for the miscellaneous permit. There's none in there. It's just what you want to do.
Yeah, and then the definition says wholesale distribution is not.
Well,
So-
wholesalers say, for wholesalers to sell and distribute or dispense. So this one is a wholesale distribution. So if you meant this one for wholesaler, probably say wholesalers or wholesale distribution, maybe we should, you know, add that language, so we don't have to.
For the definition?
Yes. When you look at the page 9, it just says a wholesale distribution. But when you look at our statutes, code 61-15-3, it says for wholesalers to sell, distribute or dispense, yeah.
I see. What you're
So it can cause a confusion. So if you meant wholesale distribution, as a definition for wholesalers, we're gonna change the language here.
Well, there's a definition of wholesale distributor after wholesale distribution. So the practice is defined and the entities defined.
So technically, the way I read it, wholesale distribution really means wholesalers, it looks like.
The function of what you do is the distribution, but then who you are as a distributor.
It's the person or the entity that does those things.
And use the ambiguous.
And that coincides with number 6 a little bit better though. I mean, just using that language in a person, but any person or entity, that's the same thing, right? But 6 is for compounding. In 461-15A.
Sell, dispense.
But it's using the same language, any person or entity, not wholesaler or some other term that requires defining. Yeah. Would it make sense for those other sections of the PMP to say, instead of wholesale distributor, just means any person or entity? But. Really, a lot of the teeth that we have on our applications comes from 436B, which would be like identifying information, right? And then from 461 and then it's encompassing HAR would come the more specific requirements for the, right? So for example, when we request a license verification for that pharmacy, that's coming from 436B, which is the PVL chapter. Because we have that authority as the regulators to ask for like licensure. But so that's not coming from 461. Also, the only thing I think is the PIC, right? For number 7, we can confirm a PIC for the use of pharmacy. But for all those other purposes, we don't have that clearly in the statute. And since the rule is kind of silent on the requirements, well, it's not kind of, it's.
So we can add on.
Yeah, I would suggest the board consider requirements. Because right now, I mean, it's kind of easy to start to gravitate towards the pharmacy, so 26 in the rules, the pharmacy permit requirements, because those are listed out pretty clearly. But it's not the same for 31.
I think this might be a question for Shari though. Is this something it can, the permitted interaction group work on this section as well?
31?
Yeah, because it's miscellaneous permit. Can we say that that gets something, that's part of the agenda of that PRG and just kind of push this to that?
Next meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Because, I mean, we're not gonna solve this problem today.
So application and 31.
Any
Yeah.
other creative.
So please include a definition of a wholesalers and then entity says in number 7.
Wait, what? Number 7?
Statutes.
461.
Description.
Number 7?
Yeah. And for any out of state pharmacy or entity. So.
Okay, but the wholesaler is defined though. You want us to change the
No, we
definition?
don't have a wholesaler in the rule. We have a wholesale distributor.
We should maybe say, maybe wholesale distributor or wholesaler.
Yeah, so, but I
Would change the definition, yeah.
maybe should pick to review this definition, meets the wholesaler definition, you know.
Okay.
Wholesale distributor definition.
Yeah.
Whether it's equal, you know.
Same as wholesaler.
Yes.
That would help clarify what fall under 30, A3.
Okay.
There's wholesalers. And also in-state versus out-of-state, that is.
You're saying no in-state should be for PMP, right?
It's like you were saying, but there's nothing in there that says. Currently, we cannot, like, the PVL cannot deny because it doesn't say permit, miscellaneous permit is for out of state. And so we will continue to have I will continue to have this issue of in-state pharmacies applying for PMP. We don't know what to do with, so we will bring it to the board. Which is, if that is a preference, that is okay, but if that, we want to avoid that, then we will have to have that qualified in the rule.
Okay. That is only for out-of-state.
Would
Yeah,
this,
I don't know
would
that.
the statute need to be changed in order to, like, say, limit to out of state for PMP, or could we go through the rules?
Well, I think
There is, yes.
8.6 is in-state wholesale distributors, right? So you've already got in-state in 8.6.
Yeah.
And 14 sub 3, that's for wholesalers. It doesn't say in-state or out-of-state. But then 7 is for the pharmacy, and I read that as out-of-state pharmacies versus wholesalers in-state. I linked sub 3 with 8.6. Yeah, that's how I
Okay.
had it in my brain.
Like wholesaler to wholesaler and pharmacy to pharmacy.
Even though the distribution part in 7 is function of a wholesaler rather than dispensing.
So that could be the out-of-state wholesaler.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is, in the miscellaneous permit, there is in-state that will get a miscellaneous permit if they're selling oxygen. That's the ones that,
That's 5.
yeah.
Or the auction or the
4 as
sample.
well.
Mm.
5. Yeah, you can do that in-state. I'm not sure how much of that
I
ever.
think that's what we really, maybe, it would be easiest for statutory change to be clear.
Yeah.
You know,
To separate it out.
this section to say, for example, for 4 and 5 to say for any in-state or out-of-state wholesale, whatever, right? For any, I think we just need that language of whether this is intended for people functioning in-state or out-of-state or both. And if, that'll make it clear what would fall under 7 versus 3 and whatnot.
Yeah. It almost looks like they had nowhere else to put everything, so they just said, oh, let's.
Everything.
Just throw everything in there.
I think it's unfortunate too, just for me, as us lay people reading this, it's hard to read a section that says it shall be unlawful and then says all the things you're prohibited doing if you don't have a license or a permit, so it's just kind of hard to guide people through that. Yeah.
And 3 doesn't have that, unless you have a permit. Is it 3?
Oh,
It's the 3.
Shall be unlawful.
yeah. So each one of these does state something like it shall be unlawful unless you get the license, but then one of them says just it shall be unlawful, and then there's without the license or not. So,
We'll change that, just so we gotta put more clarification to it. Sherry, when statute doesn't say in-state or out of state, can we put that language in the rules? I recommend not.
That's something for next year.
That sounds like a great.
2031.
2031, is that when you're?
I'm out of here.
I mean, but that is something that could alleviate a lot of stress, like say, the change to the pharmacy
Then we
permit
can,
to 16.
then we can go to the applicant and we can just cite the statute.
Yeah. Okay. So the pig might have to look at the statute.
Hey, can we, I know Sherry has to leave at 11:10 and Brandon needs to leave 11:30. Can we get any votes done? Can I move, to anything that needs a vote? Applications?
What else is there?
We still have light.
Ledge to go through.
I mean, I could quickly report that.
Let's do the application.
Yeah, and I get
Come back to.
can I get a motion for an executive session? Alan, second. Mark?
Yeah.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, so let's quickly move to executive session. It shouldn't take very long. I think our votes are pretty easy. Sorry.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It was
You'll
like
like that.
part two of it.
Because she has to leave soon. Can I get a motion to approve the ratification list?
Motion to approve ratification list. Second.
Mark, all in favor, aye? Aye. So moving to pharmacist license for Brad Wilson. I move to approve Brad Wilson. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, okay. Miscellaneous permit, Spectrum Solutions, that was to defer for more information. Health Dine. I move to approve Health Dine Pharmacy.
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Number 5, Brandy Wine Pharmaceuticals. Number 6, Atlantic Coast Orthopedic. Number 7, National Drug Wholesale, defer requesting pick. Site 461-15A15-7D. You don't need a motion, right? Or do you
We need motions for
Okay, motion, I move that.
So that's for the approvals.
No, for number 5, 6, and 7, defer requesting a pick.
Okay.
For 461-A15-7D.
Okay.
I move and Mark second. All in favor, aye.
You didn't make a motion on number 2.
Yeah.
Healthline Pharmacy.
No, that one's, number 2.
Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Oh, no, they did, she
To defer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
it was-
Oh,
No
I
motion
see.
actually got made.
Yeah.
Oh.
You jumped.
I need a motion. Okay, so Spectrum Solutions RX LLC, I move to defer for more information.
It was to clarify about the discipline.
Oh, the date.
Yeah, the deeds.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Right, let's see, what are we for 8? Motion for number 8, Regents.
To approve.
Motion to approve. Motion approved. Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. All right, good. We got the votes.
So 3 was, did you get the motion for 3?
Approved.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yes.
All right, so all of our voting's out of the way, right?
And then do we just need to know?
Delegations to be.
All delegations. Okay, so we're talking about that motion.
Move to
It needs to be
allow,
very specific, right?
yeah,
Okay.
so
Move to allow Yo to approve any application of disciplinary action in the last 5 years.
well,
Well, it wouldn't be.
reprimand, non,
Disciplinary, non-disciplinary reprimands more than 5 years ago.
yes, without drug or alcohol.
Offenses.
Yes.
That was his motion. I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
And that applies to all applications, right? Miscellaneous permit, pharmacist, pharmacy. We don't have to say, or can you, yeah,
Or, yeah.
or entity.
Yeah, you say any application.
Any application, right? Okay. That's the only vote, because I know Sherry has to leave. She's.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so now we're gonna go back to, where were we?
The restoration, that rule 1695-73.
That where we were, all right.
And if you were to make amendments, then you would need to make them.
What we have is,
Yeah.
So,
So if they're before.
restoration of forfeited license. Wait, we didn't have.
This is forfeited the same as it is, right? You said you just don't renew it,
Renew in
it's
time?
forfeited.
All right, they have 3 years.
Do you want to talk about that? We worked on it last. Long time ago. Last meeting and then. We did some further research on other states and. I think last time, what?
1 year or 3 years, right? That whole thing?
Right, and we got rid of the. This one, that's them.
Yeah,
Make it
when
nice.
you look at the statutes, 461, we have 2 different categories. So who has engaged in the practice in other state, and then who has not engaged
at all.
Hmm.
So our rule doesn't say anything about it. So when I did some research on other state rules, they have different
Yeah, you have to
requirements.
work so many hours and
Correct.
show that.
Yeah, so maybe we should adding that to this part, so.
And it also, specifies things like military leave and all that kind of stuff as well in the statute rather than the rule.
The last time when we talked about I thought it was by first year or the third year, and we said not three, right? There was a reason we had to keep three.
That's okay.
It was, I think it was in the statutes.
Their statute says 3. So when I look at the requirement, this is so long ago, so I forgot most of it, but. So you guys, we removed, majority requirement, I think 36. Am I not sure? Yeah, 36, experience verification for pharmacist licensed by a reciprocity or temporary pharmacist license. Removed 1,500 hours and the remaining, and then simplify, we only need a proof of current license in good standing in another state. So I think we gotta keep the same language for restoration too. So if they have practiced pharmacy in another state, we minimize the requirement. We cannot really require 1,500 hours here. So as long as they provide license verification, they are in good standing. So we gotta keep the same language. But if they are not engaged, they haven't practiced, we can keep same 1,500 hours.
But you're gonna have to
maybe-
define what that means, like what's practice, right? Like what's active? It's all that stuff. I don't know what that would really.
Yeah, I mean, the practical pharmacy, but 1,500 hours are saying you did it or not.
But 16-9536 experience verification. The way we revise is the applicant for pharmacist licensed by reciprocity shall provide a proof of a current licensure in good standing. That's it.
The reciprocity doesn't really happen.
If they practice in another state, so when you guys revise this one, as long as they provide a current licensure in good standing from another state, you consider them, they were practicing. They are practicing. I think that was a national behind this revision. Maybe we wanna revisit.
But the application form doesn't drive the law drives the form.
Yeah, so that's the revision they did in 16-9536. Yeah, they removed all extra requirements.
I think when we started talking about this rule revision, in order to get a license in good standing at another state, they had to already verify that they had this experience. Like they graduated school, like even for us, they get most of their hours or all their hours through school.
We get all of them.
So in order to get a license in another state, they already did this. Like all the other states have that already. So like if they got a license in California, California's already verified that they had 1,500 hours because they graduated from an accredited school and the school already provides all the hours. They don't have to work a single hour outside of the school. So I think that's why when we took this out, it was already.
It was old.
Right, and so to get a 1,500 hour verification, basically they're getting it through the school signing off, yes, they graduated, they got it through school, so. Because we allowed them somewhere else to get their hours through school and all the other schools in the state, other states, we just took it out, because all the other states took that out. They're all getting it, before they graduate, they have 1,500 hours.
For restoration purpose, to verify whether they are practiced or not, is this good enough?
I mean,
require them to submit.
we allow people to renew without working a day.
Okay.
Right, we have people that keep their license active and they haven't practiced in years, but they just don't give it up in case they
They
ever
keep
want to
paying,
come back.
yeah.
And we don't require them like to, prove that they keep working. Okay.
Someone who stopped paying for it and now their license is forfeited for
Mhm.
3 years or 2 years.
It's the same as someone actually just keeping it paid the whole time, but they never practiced either, so. I don't think,
But they
I
still
know
need
the
to-
intent, I know why you guys want that, that's great, but then we also then should close that other door that like, you guys gotta keep working.
They still need to do the CE on the back end too. even if
Yeah,
not
they have to
working.
catch up, right?
So, I mean, someone who's not working, but
Mhm.
still has an active license, they still need to do the CE in case they get audited.
Yeah.
Yeah, C is in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, I think to say that you're practicing full-time to restore it
Yeah.
is kind of, I don't know, when we don't require anyone that has a license to work or to practice.
So were we shortening the years that they could restore their license from 3 to 1 or?
No, we can't, because it's in law.
I
Okay,
think the issue was that because we got rid of the section, sorry, this copy that you have might not have the track changes, but the language that was taken out in the last meeting was where it was talking about second and third year requirements. We got rid of that. And the consequence of that is that now is these as they're only the one, like 9773 A1 says within the first year of the forfeiture. So it does not specify second or third year, even though A says within 3 years of the forfeiture. Is that the?
Yeah, this is.
That is the, like, whether maybe we would change then the, it said within the first year, we would get rid of that sentence and have those ABC requirements
within the,
apply for the full 33 years.
the 3 years or,
Oh, so you can just take out number 1.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's the issue, is just that, I think the additional thing, wasn't it the MPJE exam? If it was passed, so for second and third year, that was originally, they had to take the MPJE.
Yeah, that was that's why we got rid of that whole section, two.
Yeah, you should have left. We just striked, I don't know, I apologize. Yeah, so numbers should just strike, shouldn't be removed. So this code is confusion here. So original version has a number 2 within the second and third year of the forfeiture. A applies for restoration. B submits official statement signed by the applicant's employer, minimum 1,500 hours. And then C provides a statement signed by a licensing official of each state. And D takes and passes the Hawaii MPJE. E pays the penalty incurred biennial and renewal fees. And then F complies with a continuing education. So this should have stayed here, so, but somehow it got removed from the.
So I think we just need to take out the first line and it probably
Yeah, for 1 year.
within, yeah, okay.
Which one?
Take out 169573A and then just take out 1, right? Or like,
Yeah, we can just change it to like, say, 1, A, B, and C can turn into 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
or whatever.
and just keep it all the
No,
same.
what I'm saying is statutes has, if you engage in the practice of pharmacy in another state. And then also it has, if you are not engaged in the practice of pharmacy in another state, there's a two
Yeah.
distinctions, but we don't have that in our.
But the thing is number C is kind of moot, because you can only restore up to 3 years. So even if they haven't practiced for the past 5 years, it would only matter if they practiced in the last 3 in order to restore. Otherwise, they're just gonna have to reapply. So my question is, why is C in there?
Well, statute is a statute, so I think that's why I was questioning, maybe we should remove the number 2 within the second and third year of future with all those requirements. So that one become the requirement for the pharmacists who never engage in even in another state. So when I check the other pharmacy board, that's the requirement they are asking.
Can we get what the original and the strike through and then what the proposed? Can we do that?
Sure, sure. Let's do
Because
like,
yeah, I'm confused.
So I just want to say though, number C, I think you guys have the pharmacies and pharmacists have the ability to go into inactive, right? Is that correct?
Anybody can.
So if you are inactive for 5 years, then I'm guessing C would come into play. Because you have a license that's still active with us, so you could have a gap of 5 years in inactive, but you're not gonna have a gap of
can't have
5 years for restoration. So I don't know why C is in there except for inactive
Well,
status.
that's different. And then they gotta see the original language, yeah, somehow, but, you know, okay, you heard that.
Scope of practice. Gosh. Oh, wait. In 6. For pharmacy technician?
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, my email,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, that's this.
I don't think there was any, but
That was okay on that one. I think, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to vote on that? Oh, wait, what is?
Oh, wait, but since then, right?
Oh,
Since
yeah,
we last made these amendments, we also made the amendment 26-23, which would make 16-year-olds capable.
But I saw that and it didn't happen in the latest.
They didn't update it yet, but
Oh,
they
okay.
did adopt it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
That's good
can't.
to know, because I was looking at it and it's guys,
Yeah.
they didn't capture that part.
Yeah,
They
they did.
should have, yeah.
Ariyoshi did, so I think it's gonna go to conference.
Okay, why don't we defer that one to until we get the confirmation?
You need a vote from Brandon before he goes.
No, but we gotta come into a close.
Huh?
If we lose quorum, then we gotta
Do we
bring it
need
to a close.
a vote to defer? All these things?
It's just gonna happen by default.
2 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it, got it.
But no, but the meeting's gonna end or do we?
Yeah, we're
Oh.
under quorum now, so we no longer can.
Well,
I got 3 more minutes if you got anything.
Sorry, Corey.
Anything you want.
it's just, wait, okay, hold on, let me see.
Yeah, I need you guys to decide what versions of the moving bills you want.
Okay.
Oh, okay, hurry, let's do it. Okay, let's go there.
Let's just focus on those bills then. Yeah.
The ones moving to conference, House Bill 1643.
1643?
Yep,
Wait, is it on? Okay, yeah.
that's the audit bill.
Okay.
The State Association likes the most recent version of the bill. We supported amendments from, Kaiser. There were a couple different amendments. Kaiser removed themselves from the network because they do their own auditing internally. There's no PPM that comes in and audits Kaiser's network, so they excluded the HMOs. That's the biggest change I can think of. In the last conference, or in the last committee meeting, we had requested that some of the auditing can happen outside the prescription department because sometimes when the auditors are in these really small departments, they can see other information from plans that's not their own. So we asked if they could be outside the department, but that introduces a whole host of violations, but you're not in a HIPAA requirement. Department, so those are the 2 biggest updates. We're fine with the latest version of the bill.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So we just stay,
I think just based on what you guys are saying right now, right?
support that as
We can
well.
just say that
Current version of the
board will
bills.
support HD2 in conference.
HD2,
or
SD.
do we have to do a vote?
Do we have to vote on that?
Well, it's fine.
Okay, let's do a quick vote.
Support
To
HD2,
support-
SD2,
HD2,
all in favor, aye?
you said HD2, right?
HD2, SD2.
Yeah, that's right, HD2,
HD2.
SD2.
I second motion.
Okay, all in favor, aye, yes. Next one,
The next one is the preceptor tax credit one isn't ours. I don't know if you guys want to touch that one. The only other thought that I have is the technician bill that's moving. What is the ideal implementation date for that? Is that something that we're ready to push immediately after session, or does PVL?
What was the question?
The 16-year-old? Yeah, what's the
Can't close it.
implementation date?
We actually don't have that in the bill yet.
Okay, so right, it's deferred to 7/1/3000 right now, which is fine. That's like the effective date the legislature puts in as it goes through conference. But is that something that we want to put in effect right after session so that some of these pharmacies can start reemploying those 16-year-olds if they couldn't? Or does there need to be a delay to build out the infrastructure for that?
Speak now or forever hold your peace. What does PVL need? That's what Court is telling you.
Yeah.
I
That's
think-
y'all. Y'all.
I think that this is a nominal change for us. I believe so, because really we're just entering an age.
Mhm.
I think there's no real change needed
Okay.
that gives us time to build. But I can ask informally
Okay.
to the PVL just to check, make sure. So we're not just assuming. And then,
I mean, this is just reverting back to what it used to be, right?
Correct.
except for it's explicit now.
Right. I mean.
But yes.
Before that other bill.
Yeah.
But we didn't register
Okay, you
anyone
got.
at 16.
Okay, yeah, good. Next, anything else?
Stacy has her hand raised.
Oh, hello, Stacy. Hi,
He's still muted.
is she? Oh, you're muted, Stacy.
Hi. Hello. Hey, thanks. I just wanted to share, Kaiser would really appreciate an earlier implementation date. So like maybe August 2026, if that's feasible for you all. Really just to allow enrollment for students into our high school pharmacy technician training program, because that usually starts in the fall.
So you want it to be later, not effective immediately? No.
No, yeah, effective immediately would be great. Like
So
no
that
later than
August 10
August
happens.
2026.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you don't have an August date, it would be effective immediately and then it would happen in June or July.
I never signed it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, any what other bills? That's it?
Did you say, sorry, 26-23 was the pharmacy technician bill?
Correct.
Okay.
In the last committee, on the HD side, they accepted the 16-year-old, and then I think that was it, right?
You just checked, yeah.
And so is that the one you guys are supporting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, effective immediately or whenever signed.
Does there have to be a motion for this?
Yeah, let's do that.
I move to ensure support.
For SB 2623, all in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
Aye.
Brandon, thank you.
Hold in.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye,
The
thank
date for
you.
the next meeting's
Next
21st.
in, May 21st.
That's actually something
Oh.
they want to talk to you about.
Just think,